In the very early 80s, Chinon made a transition from the ubiquitous M42 mount to the Pentax-K mount with this camera, the Chinon CE-4. It is a fully manual 35mm SLR with an Aperture Priority Automatic mode. The all-black body is mostly metallic with a faux leather finish. But I must say though, this is one of the most realistic faux leathers I've seen on these cameras. The kit lens is multi-coated. It is 50mm f1.7 and it's a prime. As mentioned before, it's a Pentax-K mount lens. The two rings on this lens are the aperture ring and the focus ring. The apertures on this lens are from f1.7 to f22 with half stops between f2 and f16. Both rings are nicely textured for easy grip and are very comfortable to use. The lens is attached to the body by aligning the red dot on the lens to that on the camera mount and rotating clockwise until it clicks into place. To remove the lens, there is a lever to press which releases the lens before it is rotated in the anti-clockwise direction. Just above the lens lock release lever is the depth of field lever for previewing depth of field, as the name suggests. The lens always focuses at the widest available aperture. Pressing the depth of field lever shows you the scene at the selected aperture. There is a shutter dial on top of the camera which gives you an option of 4 seconds to 1/1000th of a second, including bulb mode. This dial is also how automatic shutter, which is aperture priority mode, is selected. It is also how the camera is turned off, by rotating the dial to the off position. By the way, in automatic mode, the shutter speed range starts from 8 seconds. The shutter is electromagnetically controlled in both manual and automatic modes. The shutter button itself is within the dial. Pressing the shutter button halfway engages the light meter. Pressing it all the way takes a shot. There is a self-timer dial in front of the camera that gives you options of 5 seconds and 10 seconds. There is an LED that blinks as it gets ready to release the shutter. To open the back of the camera to load film, pull the rewind lever upwards. Film loading is per usual. The film goes on the left and is passed through the take-up spool on the right, ensuring that the film sprockets are engaged. When the back is closed, the frame counter is reset. You can tell the camera what ISO/ASA your film is via the ASA dial, which gives you the option from 25 to 3200 ISO. There is an option for exposure compensation of plus or minus 1 stop, and these are in 1/3 increments. The dial is locked and can be unlocked via the ASA dial lock button. The accessory shoe, which is in the usual place, is a hot shoe. There is an X-Sync socket as well as an exposure memory button, both in front of the camera next to the lens. Under the camera, you can see the battery chamber cover, the tripod socket, and the film rewind button that activates the rewind lever. By the way, this camera takes 3 SR44 or LR44 batteries, which are cheap to find online. You can use the Chinon power winder with the Chinon CE-4. That's beyond the scope of this video, but if you want to use one, electronic contacts and coupler are also found at the base of the camera. The viewfinder is very basic. It is large and bright as usual with these SLRs from the 80s. There is a simple label showing all the available shutter speeds as well as under and over. In auto mode, a single LED light blinks next to the selected shutter speed, including under or over as the case may be. In manual mode, there are 2 LEDs. One LED shows you what the light meter thinks you should be at. The other LED, the blinking one, denotes the manually selected shutter speed. When these two agree, there is a single non-blinking light. In both modes, manual and automatic, the LEDs blink at over and under. To aid focusing, there is a central split image with microprism color and ground glass. The Chinon CE-4 allows for multiple exposure on the same frame. To expose multiple times, after the shutter has been released, you can unlock the shutter again without having to wind or advance the film. You do this by moving the multiple exposure lever. The lever is a switch that disengages the film advance lever and frame counter. This means you can take as many exposures as you want. Okay, what about the photos? Well, if you saw my other videos about the Pentax P30 or the Yashica FX3 Super, my verdict is pretty much the same for this camera. It's a good camera. The kit lens is very well made, as are many Japanese made lenses in that era. The light meter is very accurate, as is the electronic shutter system. The results are perfectly exposed, very sharp images. And as I said before, it is up to the other factors: the photographer's eye, the lighting conditions, the composition, and so on, to make the difference. One extra thing that this camera has going for it that perhaps edges it over some of its peers is the multiple exposure feature. If you're into that, you'd really enjoy this camera. So overall, it looks handsome, it takes technically great photos, it takes the Pentax-K mount lenses, so there's an infinite choice of lenses to choose from, and it takes widely available batteries. You really cannot go wrong with this camera. That's it for the Chinon CE, and until next time, ciao!